Welcome back to another brilliant episode of Mac Music Review. Before we hop into the review, just want to say there's going to be some stuff down in the description if you want to know how the channel works, if you want to know what I'm reviewing next, how to request an album for me to review, all that good stuff is going to be down in the description for this video. Today, we are going to be looking at the album Homework by Daft Punk. And here's the album artwork. I am so good at editing and I'm so bad at snapping. That was both lame snaps. Yeah, Homework is actually the debut album for Daft Punk. Believe it or not, this thing was released in 1997. Can you believe that? If you're an EDM fan, if you're an electronic music fan, Daft Punk might be your favorite artist, and your favorite artist debuted in 1997. That's when their first album was released. This album gets a lot less attention than some of their other albums. It's not their least popular album, but it's far from their most popular album. It had some small hits on it, Around the World and Defunct. You probably heard these hits if you're sort of a Daft Punk fan. If you're a hardcore Daft Punk fan, I'm sure you've listened to the album. But if you're kind of like a softcore Daft Punk fan like I am, then I'm sure you've heard these songs. They're well known in the Daft Punk community, but they're not super duper big hits. So if you're a super casual listener, you've probably never heard these songs, but if you're sort of a fan, you've heard these songs. Oh, I didn't even say the name of the songs. What? I'm so stupid. The songs that are sort of hits are Defunct and Around the World. It's worth saying that this album is real long. This album is 16 tracks. 2 of the 16 tracks I don't consider real songs. They're not full-length songs. And that is the song that's like the title of a radio station, 83.7 FM. It's not really a song. It's more like a skit. And then the last song, Funk Ad, is less than a minute, so it's not really a song. But besides that, this thing has 14 full-length songs. Some of these songs are like 2 minutes long. Some are like really, really long, like 8 or 9 minutes. I don't know if any of them are actually 9 minutes. A lot of these are 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. And it's got some long songs on this album. Literally an hour and 13 minutes is the runtime for this album, so it's a big one. You probably know Daft Punk for their song Get Lucky. It's a very fun, very funky, melodic, danceable song that you can really jam to. But this album is not a lot of that. There is a little bit of that, especially in the song Around the World. That is a song you can kind of jam to, despite the fact that it's really, really long, and it only has one line, which is, of course, Around the World, which it repeats like 50 times. Most of the songs on this album are not really super upbeat and enjoyable and danceable. Most of them are really scratchy. Some of them are even unpleasant, like Rock and Roll has a little bit of a disturbing, unsettling edge to it. And other songs on this album are just kind of, they're scratchy, they're not super enjoyable or super easy to listen to. They're more like music made for like a music critic, music that's not super enjoyable, fun, or easy to digest. A lot of the music is really long and drawn out. A lot of the music is really slow. And this music does change over time. The beats, as with most of Daft Punk's work, the songs slowly evolve. Sometimes the changes are subtle, and sometimes they're very sudden and drastic. And these songs evolve and shift and change over time. Also, yeah, that's basically all I want to say about the music on this album. Now, what you may be wondering is, what are the lyrics on this album? Well, as with this is an EDM album released in 1997. That's really old. But even then, trying to block out the sun because it looks awful. Even then, this EDM music, this electronic dance music, it doesn't have a lot of words. A lot of times, if there are lyrics on a song, they will not really be lyrics, but more like words that are just thrown in for effect, like on Revolution 909, or the words will just kind of exist, not as lyrics, not as song lyrics, but just kind of for effect, or just repeated over and over and over again, like on Around the World. The song Teachers literally is just, it's not singing, it's just the lyrics of the song. The lyrics of the song are just him listing off a bunch of teachers in the EDM world. He just names a bunch of DJs, basically. He also mentions Dr. Dre, but he basically just lists, it's him listing off a bunch of influential names and important names for the electronic music world. And it's a surprisingly long list, judging from how this album is so old and it was released before EDM was super duper popular. So that's interesting. Let's get down to it. Is this a good album? Is it a bad album? Is this something you should listen to or something you should skip? Let's talk about that. In my initial All Music review, my official review of this album, I gave it 2.5 stars, and I realized that that was probably a mistake because All Music, the website I reviewed it on, the editor, the person who wrote the official review for the album, gave it 5 stars, and so I realized that I might have missed something. Coming back to this album, I find it a lot better than I did when I first listened to it, but I'm still gonna stay true to some of my statements. This album is not super duper enjoyable for the most part. It's really long and drawn out, and a lot of the music is not super appealing. It's not super enjoyable. It's not like super fun. A lot of it's just really scratchy and kind of puts you on edge a little bit, like the song Rock and Roll. But I can't deny that, coming back to this album, it is well produced. This thing is well made. It's just, and it is memorable, it's distinctive, it is good EDM, it's just not super enjoyable, fun EDM. It's not something that's, not something that I would really see myself coming back to listen to over and over again, because it's just really not enjoyable. Like, nearly any other Daft Punk release is more enjoyable than this, is more fun to listen to. And for that reason, I don't love this album. I can acknowledge that it's well made, well produced. There are cool things in the music. The song Funk is actually really, really cool. The music and the progression is actually epic. It's awesome. That song is one of my favorite Daft Punk songs. Definitely the best song on this album. And this album does have some other really well made, cool songs, but not Teachers. That's a terrible song. That one is just like, I do not want to hear that song again. It sounds dumb. The vocals on the song are dumb, and the music is annoying. And it's the way it says, it literally just lists off names is really annoying. I dislike that song. But yeah, Homework is a very well produced album. It's distinctive, it's memorable, it's just not super enjoyable, not super fun, not something that I would really come back to over and over again like some of these other Daft Punk albums. I'm going to give Homework, we're talking about Discovery next, I'm going to give Homework by Daft Punk a 3.5 star rating out of 5. What do you think of this album? What's your favorite Daft Punk album? What's your favorite album in general? Tell me in the comments. I want comments. I'm sad. Thank you.